On the Montalcino hill, where the ancient monastery of Sant'Antimo is located, the Schwarz family farm, La Magia, has been standing for more than 40 years. A rich terroir, mainly composed of clay and silt, is typical of Montalcino, and it is here that the fine wines of La Magia are produced. Brunello di Montalcino, Rosso di Montalcino, but also Tuscany IGT and Rosato are produced. Their vineyards, really old, in 15 hectares, they are located at about 400-450 meters above the sea level. And the Sangiovese here finds its best expression. Right from the start of this beautiful experience of this new adventure for Schwarz family, this estate has been characterized by its eco-sustainable approach in the cellar and for the great respect of the terroir. So today we have Fabian Schwarz, owner of La Magia, and Lisa, that we can talk with them and they will introduce us better their estate. So Fabian, do you want to start and tell us more about when everything started, and you know, about a little bit in a few words about the history, and then what is changing in your reality, what is going on in La Magia?
So first of all, good morning and good evening to everyone, depending where we are.
Sorry, just in this group we have also Emiliano and Andrea from Enotria Wine Imports. They are our distributors and importer in New York and many other states.
Thank you. And sorry, you know, during my thank you very much, Lisa. And sorry because you know I was really emotionated, and
no
in my
problem.
introduction I went wrong with you know, the accent, but of course it's La Magia.
So yeah, good morning to everyone, and yeah, La Magia. The La Magia history started in the mid-70s when the owner of at that time planted in 74 planted the big vineyard in front of Sant'Antimo. Unfortunately, he had healthy problems and he died at the end of the 70s. And in 79, my father and my grandfather had the opportunity to buy the winery. What at that time it was in fact 15 hectares of vineyard of Sangiovese, and a little bit of wine in the cellar. And so they get the opportunity, they said, okay, let us try. And so they started this big adventure. Obviously, at the time, I would say that it was something which was which every common person could buy. Now it's a little bit more difficult. At the time, the prices, I mean, to buy hectare of vineyard here or in the Chianti or in Montepulciano or in Scansano, there was not so a big difference like today. And so they started this adventure, and then obviously they started at the beginning. They were selling grapes, and then slowly they produced more and more wines. So in fact, our first vintage that we have, it's the 78, and then I started by myself to work at the winery in 2005 after my studies, my winemaking studies. And then from 2011, between 2011 and 2012, my father retired. So now I have also to do all the rest, not only the winemaking part, but also all the commercial side and the promotion. Obviously, fortunately, Lisa is helping me. Otherwise, it's I every time say that to make the wine it's easy, to sell it it's the most difficult part. So and so that is a very short history of the winery. At the moment, in the last years, we we grow a lot in the market. So we have to say that when I took over the winery in 2011, so we were present only in a few markets in Europe and in the US. After all the economical problems we only had one little importer. So now we work more and more. So we work very good in all North America. So in the US and also in Canada, and in Europe we are present in between 10 and 12 different states. And also I have to say in the last 3-4 years also Asia is starting to be a very important market. Obviously that was possible because we were working only with very high quality grapes, because big part of our vineyards, like Raffaele was saying, are still from 74. So that give us a very high potential in the wines. And then we will see it then after in the wines, the difference between the Rosso, which is coming from the younger vineyards, and the Brunello, which is coming from the older vineyards, which is a big difference when you make high quality wine. So that's obviously for us, it's very important.
Thank you, Fabian. Since when the La Magia estate has been organic certified?
So organic certified from 2012, and but already before we were working in an organic way. The only thing that my father was he was too lazy for the bureaucratic side, so he didn't want it to be. He was not interested to have the certification, but when I asked for the certification, 2012. I was showing them that it was 10 years that we were working organically. So we bring them all the invoices and they make the analysis of the soil. And so we are one of very less wineries which didn't have to make the 3 years of conversion. So we passed directly 2012 to organic.
Oh, cool. Okay. Interesting.
When I did it, the most of who was making all the bureaucratic stuff, I said, yeah, we can ask, but it will be very difficult. But then we were lucky. So also because for us it's very easy, because we don't have vineyards on the neighbor, or there is all the vineyards are in the wood, so there was no problems with the neighbors, and so also this was also helping. So
okay, and from my side, the consistency of this winery, guys, today is quite high. Always in the last 4-5 years, the wine showed really well in a blind tasting. They are always let's say son of their vintages, so you can really feel and understand what's happening. If you can really understand really easy and soon from this wine, if maybe it's more warm vintages instead of rainy vintages, more Mediterranean character. This is quite important because they show you directly the essence of their terroir. Actually, today we are going to taste, Fabian, the Rosso di Montalcino 2019, which is really young. You bottled like less than 1 month ago, but already I can tell you, I tasted like a week ago for this webinar. It's showing already better. It's more harmonic in the floral character. There is much more energy going on your nose, and is actually also well structured. The Rosso di Montalcino, can you talk us a little bit about also fermentation? Which kind of style do you like to follow more? So fermentation, then the aging of your wine, both Rosso first of all, and then Brunello.
So on the Rosso, like I told you before, it's coming from our younger vineyards, which were planted between 2002 and 2008. And what I try to make during the fermentation is to not extract too much tannins. In fact, that means that we are working with cool maceration at the beginning. And then after 3 days, we start with the fermentation, which obviously starts very slow. And then normally in 1 week or 10 days, we finish the fermentation. And as soon as we finish the fermentation, we separate the skins from the wine to not extract too much tannins. We want to keep the wine very fresh and also very drinkable. And we don't want to have, let us say, too much green tannins. So obviously, that's why we are not making too much extraction on the tannins, like for example, like we are doing for the Brunello. So, after that, after also the malolactic fermentation, then we keep the wine in the big casks and in used 500 liter barrels for about 9 months, and then normally at the end of the year or at the beginning, after 2 years, we start to we bottle the wine. So, but for me, it's very important on the Rosso to keep nice fruit, typical from the Sangiovese, but to have smooth tannins, which then make the wine very, very drinkable. We don't want to make, let us say, a second Brunello. We want to make a wine which is working by himself. So, which is more for a wine for, let us say, every day.
Absolutely. It's characterized about the drinkability. You can see it about the freshness and also the beautiful of the fruit. And did you say, I'm sorry, Fabian, so when it's finished the fermentation, you go away from the skin, but this Rosso actually is entirely made in stainless, or there is also a small percentage of
during fermentation only stainless steel, and then after fermentation, no, it's 9 months in oak. But 100%, it's we use the big oak casks, which we use for the fermentation for the Brunello, and then we use the 500 liter barrels, the used one. We use it for the Rosso, but there is no new oak. There is it's very only a little part. I need the oak not for give the wine notes. I need the oak to let us say to give them more oxygen. So to let the wine breathe, and so to have a more harmonic wine. So if you keep the wine only in the stainless steel, it's the wine are going to be very reduced. You don't have a real evolution. So it's better to have the oak.
Absolutely. I think you get also, the creamy texture actually, because there is not a lot of extraction. It's quite more light body, but you can feel it that the wine has a good persistence. The wine is there. So drinking it, you want to come back, but it's not like a simple wine. Absolutely. Drinkable, yes. The wine of every day, yes. But absolutely, you can say it's a wine well made. And there is also personality and character. And moving also in the tasting of the Brunello 2016, do you want to tell us more about, again, fermentation, aging, and also spend some words about, the oak that you use? Because I remember it's quite more small in, in dimension. There are also big casks, like you said, for Rosso, but you have some percentage of also Tonneau and Barrique.
I mean, it's 90% of Tonneau, so it's the Brunello. But so coming from the beginning, the first big difference is the vineyard. So old vineyards from 74, so more than 40 years old. So in 2016, 42 years old. And the difference is that when you have vineyards like that, vines like that, they give the most important thing is that the phenolic maturation, it's going by themselves. And normally you arrive at the beginning of September, where you have, or at the mid of September, 1 week before the harvest, you normally have already a very good phenolic maturation. So and that's obviously help you to decide the right moment of the picking. And what also is then different. The big difference is that you have a lot of phenolic stuff. So it means that during the fermentation, we start the fermentation as soon as possible. We arrive at higher temperatures until 30 degrees, and normally in 1 week you finish the fermentation. And during this period, we make during the fermentation 4 pumping overs per day. So we keep the hut very wet. And after the fermentation, normally we take one tank, or one which is fermented, and we separate the skins from the wine, and we fill all the rest already with the skins. Well, what that we call it in Italian, we call it cappello sommerso. I don't know how you say that in English.
Neither.
And then we stay on the skins another month. So we arrived in very good vintages, like 20, like 19, but also like 16. We arrived at almost 45 days of maceration. So very, very long. But you can do that only because you have very good good tannins. So otherwise it would be not possible. So after that we work. After that we wait for we separate the wine from the skins. We wait for the malolactic fermentation, and then we move the wine in the barrels. We used, let us say, 95% of 500 liter barrels, so tonneau, and we use almost 99% of French oak, so or 95% of French oak, and we buy every year about for every vintage becomes about 1/3 of new oak. So it means that we have to buy between 20 and 30 new barrels every vintage. And on the Brunello, 1/3 it's normally new oak. So 1/3 it's new oak, 1/3 it's second used oak, and 1/3 is third used. And after 3 years, we're blending again together all the barrels, or all the barrels which are still good. And after that, we bottle normally between 6 to 9 months before going on the market. We bottle it. So the 16 we bottled it in July of last year.
Okay, if there are some questions from our professionals, I think Leonardo Ricciardella, he already knew the brand, he already tasted La Magia. We used to taste also together, actually, some years ago. But if there are some words also from our professionals about this kind of wine, like you can see, the feeling is that the wine is already opened. They are so precise and balanced. There is energy and fruits, like we said also for Rosso di Montalcino, but you cannot feel. If Fabian was not saying tonight that there is 90% of, let's say tonneau, which is 500 liters, you never will talk about, because there is no vanilla character, there is no hazelnuts, there is no lots of dark chocolate. It's much more about floral and really beautiful notes.
The Brunello speaks for itself. You know, it's like you don't have the overpowering from the tonneau, and I'm sure like you play well with the new and mostly old, because the freshness, the purity of the wine is there.
But the grit is the most beautiful part, I guess.
Thank you. And for me, it was every time very important to work good with the oak. And if you know how to choose the right tonellerie and the right barrels, you can, and you have obviously the right grapes, because it's every time important. You can give the wine a higher complexity, but the wine, it's still wine, it's not oak. So that's very, but that's something which I needed time to do that, because it's 20 or 15 years that we experiment with different tonellerie. We every year try a new tonellerie, and if it's good, we add it to all our portfolio in this sense. And it's, thank you if you say that it's not tasting like barrel. That's for me very, very important.
And it's good to know, because we know everybody here from New York can check on 750 the pricing. It's a great bottle of wine for quality and price. So it's a bottle of wine that, especially in a moment like this in New York, that you know, we went through last year at this time. It was a plane going down, and now fortunately it seems it's a plane that's taking off. So this is a perfect product, because the value and quality, it's a very, very, very well balanced. They are not asking for, you know, insane price. It's a Brunello that makes everyone happy, including for what you are spending. And 16 is jackpot. You know, it's fantastic performance in a glass.
No, thank you. But in this sense, the 16 was helping a lot. So to have also two vintages, 15 and 16, very, very good vintages. It's obviously, it was something that in this period, in a period where, I mean, we have economical problems, it's helping a lot in this sense.
Fabian, do you guys use a consulting winemaker, or pretty much you overlook everything?
No, I'm looking everything.
Then extra bravo, because I think like even if there was one, you're already doing it.
You're doing the contadino work. That's good. What kind of challenging are you facing in the vineyard? I mean, you said you've been organic since 2012. What are the challenges that you are facing?
The big challenge to be organic in Montalcino, it's easy.
Right?
It's not difficult. I every time say that probably Montalcino could be 100% organic.
Yeah.
And because if you make only a little production per hectare, it's not difficult. And the challenge now is to find out every year or the right balance between all the ecosystem you have, and also to find out the way to have a good production using natural ways to grow. Obviously, then if you need sulfur and copper, you can use it, but to find out the way to protect all the ecosystem. Also, if you have problems, I don't know, with spiders, which are eating the leaves, the best way to defeat them is to use other insects which are eating the spider. So that is what I mean with find out a balance in the ecosystem. That's, I think, it's the most important thing. Then obviously we have to make quality. We have to make the right quantity, which, I mean, in Montalcino it's very less, so it's never a problem in this sense. But that is the biggest challenge in the vineyard at the moment. And then also another big challenge is to preserve the old vines, which is not easy. So
Fabian, I have a question. Actually, it's a 100-point question from a point of view of a producer, which has his hands in the material, in the wine. What do you think will show better in next 5-10 years about the 2015 vintages and the 2016 vintages?
I don't know. No, it's. I think it's depending a lot. It's depending a lot from the winery. For sure, at the moment, if you ask me, I would take a 15, and probably for the next years, the 15 will be a little bit better. But it's also depending on what you, on a subjective side. Now, for me, the 15 at the moment it's a little bit better, has also a little bit more of structure at the moment, and we have to see after 5 years maybe then the 16 will be better. That's true, because it has a little bit more freshness, more acidity, the 16 to 15, so it could change. But obviously we are speaking about two very great vintages. Maybe it's also depending at the moment of the day, so there is a moment for the 16 and a moment for the 15.
Yeah, absolutely. It's emotion, This is a great bet. No, I wanted to ask because really you have the perception of a winemaker, but even before of a vigneron, let's say, working in your vineyard. And about pH, the 2016 was lower, but about polyphenolic structure?
For the phenolic structure, they're very, very similar.
Similar, okay.
Yeah, it's so that I would say that the big difference is the 16 had more acidity, so probably in the long term will work a little bit better. But as on the phenolic side, we had both are very good. Big difference is a little bit in the alcohol. I would say that 15 is a little bit higher in alcohol also. So on the phenolic side, I mean, especially in our case, there was not so a big difference. I think that they, if I remember well, also the analyses were very, very similar. And
okay.
I think now in the wine you feel a little bit more, I would say, tannins in the 15 than in the 16. But because in the 16 they need a little bit more time, they have to come out.
Okay. Thank you very much, Fabian. If there are more questions from our professionals, we are happy to answer with Fabian and Lisa.
For Fabian, it's just a personal question. Since it's a family business, did you grow up with the wine passion, I guess, right?
Not really.
So they kind of force you to be part of the company and
No.
you decide your future?
It's so that I grew up here, obviously, because I grew up here, but in my family, my family, so when my father and my grandfather bought the winery, they didn't know anything about winemaking. It was, my father at that time was 28, and he was a professional race driver, which at the end, I mean, he didn't arrive until the Formula 1. That was the problem. And then he got the possibility to buy it. I said, yeah, that could be a nice life for me to make wine. And so he decided to buy the winery. So I know a lot of things about motorsport also, which is, let us say, the passion of the family. But after that, obviously, when I was 14, I had to decide in which school I have to go. And then I decided, okay, I will go to the winemaking school. And at the school, I met a few people and a few now friends. And then I get the passion about winemaking, about everything. And that's, I have to say, that's big part. It's coming from the schools and from the people which I met there. So that's, and now and that's why, for example, I'm doing the wine by myself and not with a consultant, because I studied winemaking, and I have, let us say, it's a group of between 5 and 10 people. We make some wines together. We try together the wines. We make some trips together to France, to Burgundy, to Bordeaux, and so that's then the winemaking, the passion about winemaking came out. But it's easy to get to arrive at the passion on wine. So it's the alcohol helps.
Thank you, Fabian. Thank you.
No problem, no problem.
Fabian, very quick, can you tell us about, as you are dealing with it every day, how is 17 showing? What can we expect from 2017 vintage?
17, it was a very, very warm vintage. So it will be a vintage which will, in my opinion, will be very good at the beginning, for sure. We have to see how long it will during in the time, but 17 was a very, 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 very warm vintage. So high alcohol, high extraction, but very, very smooth and with a lot of structure. So we have to see how it will work on the long time, but for sure it will be very, very good at the beginning, very drinkable from the first day. But that's what we saw also in the Rosso. No, 17 was when we produced the Rosso, was very drinkable from the beginning, very nice, a lot of fruits. So I think it will move very good, the 17. Also because on the 17, because it was very warm, we didn't have so much production. Everyone in Montalcino, so there will be not so much bottles on Brunello.
Great. Fabian, are all your vineyard located in the same area close to the estate, or you guys have multiple elevation and different
No, all the vineyards are located around the winery, and we have, like I told you before, at the moment 15 hectares of vineyards which are productive, and 2 hectares we just planted, and we are in the southeast part of Montalcino, but very high. We are between 420 and 500 meters.
Wow.
So
Who's that next to you? Who's your neighbor there? I'm sure there's more.
Now neighbors are Ventolaio, Villatolli, and in the higher part, and then but we are looking to Sant'Antimo. So then you see Ciacci Piccolomini, but Ciacci Piccolomini, Sesta, Fanti, they are all at 300, between 300 and 350 meters, and we are a little bit higher. So
do you feel that likely with the global warming, having vineyard above high elevation has been playing in your advantage? Because especially on the Brunello, but even the Rosso, the alcohol is not overwhelming. The wine is very, very fresh.
For sure, it helps in this sense. But it's I have to say that one of the biggest difference in the last vintages that I saw is that in vintages like 2012, 2015, to be at that altitude helps a lot. So we can keep the wine with a good acidity, very fresh, and that's when you have a lot of complexity, a lot of phenolic part, and a lot of alcohol. You need this fresh part, which is coming obviously from the altitude. So, and that is our big goal in very warm vintages.
Grazie, bravo, continua così,
Grazie a voi.
If there is some point of view also from David, I don't know if David is still with us, if he already knew the brand. Hi, David.
Hi, how are you? I had to change my computer. My other one, I don't know, connection was pretty bad. But You know, I never tasted these wines. I'm very impressed. The 2016 Brunello is fantastic. You know, I wrote actually 3 words. I wrote power, structure, elegance, which for me summarizes everything in a way. I think the wine is beautiful. I wanted to know more about the production level. How much wine I don't know if we spoke about this, but what's the production level here?
So we produce about 80,000 bottles between, let us say, between 20,000 of IGT, 20,000 of Rosso, and then let us say between 40 and 50,000 or between Brunello and Riserva and our single vineyard wine. So it's, let us say, between, depending a lot also on the vintages, but between 70 and 80,000 bottles at the moment.
And the wines obviously are beautiful. I'm all curious to know who's your importer in New York.
You have it in New York. It's Enotria. So
Enotria, okay.
I think, I don't know if everyone is enjoying us from Enotria, but Emiliano and Andrea are here. So if you have any question about how you get the wine, you can ask them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. It's great.
No problem.
We need just to listen a little bit. If there are 2 minutes more, Alessandra and Federico.
Yeah, sure. My curiosity is about the market where you feel more strong. That you told before to us that you are stronger in some market. Which are there?
In which other markets like I told you, it's the good thing now is that we structured our sales not only in one market or in a few markets, but in a lot of markets. And I have to say that, for example, Asia, it's becoming more important and more important. I mean, I remember almost 10 years ago, I was in China. Nobody was knowing the Italian wine. So in fact, they asked me why I'm not buying the wine in France. And so now, obviously, it changed. Brunello and Italian wines are becoming more important. So they are markets which now are coming out very, very good, obviously. So if it's that what you wanted to know.
Yeah. The Italian market, how much impact on all the worldwide market?
Our market, the Italian market?
Yeah, in Italy.
The Italian market for us, it's 20%, not more. But it's obviously for Italian wines, the Italian market, it's the most important market now. But for us and for Montalcino, I think for all the Brunellos, I think if I remember well, the Italian market, it's between 30 and 50%. We are working a little bit more in exporting the wine. So for us, obviously, the most important wine market is still the US market, Canadian market, and then I told you, Asia is becoming more and more important. So
that's good.
20% in Italy is a good number.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a good number, 20%, but it's we could do better in Italy in this sense.
Do you guys offer for tourists, because from New York away from bars and we send people to Montalcino, do you guys have hospitality, wine tasting and everything over there?
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, okay, Lisa, that's you, good.
She's organizing everything in this sense, so.
That's good because
often we get asked, yeah.
It's from New York, I think one of the main destination from our customers, and they always ask it's Tuscany, and of course a day trip for a couple of days in Montalcino, which also seen that Montalcino is getting better and better with hospitality too. From starting Casanova di Neri or Mastroianni, they created lots of luxury places, and people are more and more willing to travel and stay longer in Montalcino instead of doing just a day trip. So good to know that you guys also offer tasting, because pretty much the wines are a surprise, and they don't cost a fortune. You know, it's the quality price is very, very well
They're
balanced.
approachable, yeah. Great approachability, I agree.
This
They
is
are
Andrea
young.
with Enotria. Can I add one thing?
Absolutely, Andrea. Thank you very
I've
much
heard
for being here.
if you're looking for the wines in the markets that we control directly, New York, New Jersey, and Illinois, you can go to 750 or Beverage Media and either go to our portfolio, Enotria Wine Imports, or and put La Magia in the search, and you will find them.
Grazie, Andrea.
Prego.
Yeah.
So I think it's everything, because we are a little bit late, like 10 minutes, not a little bit, but it was a pleasure to see again Fabian and Lisa. If there are more questions,
Our pleasure.
we can get 2 minutes more, but I think we said pretty a lot about the estate, about their style. They are really modern and beautiful in the drinkability, like we said all together tonight. But you can feel there is something more. There is like a kind of gentle spiciness which go up in the time in the glass, and will be really interesting altogether to taste also with some years on the shoulders. I had the opportunity to taste something incredible with Fabian and Lisa some months ago, actually, for the 2016 M Premier. And I can really put my face and tell you that, you know, they bring really quality also after 15 years or 20 years. So this is what we are looking for, a wine that can show up really well right now, that you can feel the quality. You can drink an entire bottle, but you can also say, you know what, I would like to keep it a little bit and see what's happening. So, you know, this is my feeling for La Magia, for really two younger guys that we have in Montalcino, Fabian and Lisa. Fabian is more involved, you know, you don't see him a lot because it's more in vineyards, absolutely, and in vineyards. But Lisa is more the young face that go around and make all the communication part, all the marketing, and bring also the people in the estate. So nothing, let's say that I leave you with the promise to see you soon, maybe in New York with our professional, or even better in Montalcino when it will be possible.
I hope in New York.
I hope in New York.
I hope soon as well.
Quick punctualization. How you guys pronounce it? La Magia or La Magia?
La Magia, La Magia.
La Magia.
La Magia.
Right, what's the name from? Yeah.
La Magia is coming from Magione. It's a place where you can rest. So because we are directly in front of Sant'Antimo, so the second road on the Francigena was passing here through the winery, and that's why people could rest here, and so that's why it's called Magione, Magia.
Magia. All right, thank you.
No problem.
Perfect. Thank you very much again.
Thank you.
And good evening
Thank you,
to
guys.
everybody, and good morning to our professionals. See you soon.
Ciao, grazie.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Paolo,
Ciao.
ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.